Run a global lottery every 10 minutes for 15 years straight with no referee. Bitcoin does this. No clock, no boss, no scheduler. Yet, block timestamps tick within minutes of a perfect cadence while hash power grew from mega hashes to exahashes. The heartbeat never breaks. To see how this works, forget Bitcoin, roll some dice. A hash function like SHA-256 takes any input and returns a 256-bit fingerprint called a digest. Same input, same digest. Change one bit, the output looks random. There's no shortcut, no equation to solve. The only way to find an input that produces a specific kind of output is to guess. That's the core insight. Mining isn't math. It's a lottery where each ticket is a guess, and the prize is the right to extend the chain. The dice game makes this concrete. Roll 2 dice. Target, total under or equal to 12. Every roll wins. Trivial. Lower the target to 5. Now only certain combinations qualify. You'll win roughly 1 roll in 4. Drop it to 3. Just one combination works. Snake eyes plus 1. Expected rolls to win, about 36. Lower the target, rarer the win, more work proven. Critically, the winning roll is instantly verifiable. One glance confirms it. That asymmetry, hard to find, trivial to check, is what makes proof of work work. Now let's replace the dice with hashing. Take the string hello world and append a nonce, a number we vary. Hash it, then check if the digest starts with a 0. Nonce 0, the digest starts with 1. Fail. Nonce 1 starts with 7. Fail. Keep incrementing. At nonce 32, the digest finally begins with 09. Win. One leading hex 0 has probability 1 in 16, so the expected number of tries is 16. We took 32. Well within noise. That's mining in miniature. Bitcoin just uses a much smaller target. That's the principle. Bitcoin's version. Assemble a block header containing the previous block hash, a Merkle root of transactions, a timestamp, the target, and a nonce. Hash the header twice with SHA-256. If the result is below the target, broadcast the block. Otherwise, increment the nonce and try again. That's the entire loop. Note what's missing. Transaction count, fees, dollar value. The work is fixed by target alone. A block full of payments and an empty block cost identical electricity. Now the actual encoding. Block 277,316 stored its target as the compact value EOX1903 We split it into 2 parts. The first byte, 019, is the exponent, that's decimal 25. The next 3 bytes, 053A33C, are the coefficient. Now plug into the formula. Target equals coefficient times 2 to the power of 8 times the quantity exponent minus 3. 8 times 25 minus 3 is 176. So target equals CL3A30C times 2 to the 176. Expand that out, and you get a 256-bit number with roughly 60 leading 0 bits. Any block header hash must fall below that ceiling to be valid. Quick scale check. A 1 terahash per second miner, a trillion guesses every single second, will expect to win 1 block roughly every 59 days at this difficulty. And today's network does that trillion guesses billions of times over, every second. Hash power keeps climbing, so if the target stayed fixed, block times would shrink towards 0. Bitcoin self-corrects. Every 2016 blocks, roughly 2 weeks, every node independently recomputes the target. The rule is simple. The new target equals the old target multiplied by the actual elapsed time divided by 20,160 minutes, which is the time 2016 blocks should take at 10 minutes each. Here's a worked example. Suppose those 2016 blocks arrived in 15,120 minutes, faster than expected. The multiplier is 15,120 divided by 20,160, which equals 0.75. So the new target shrinks to 75% of the old one, making mining harder. If blocks came in slower than expected, the multiplier would exceed 1, the target would expand, and difficulty would drop. Now a famous subtle bug. The calculation uses the timestamp spanning 2015 intervals instead of 2016, which biases difficulty about 0.05% harder over time. It's well known, unfixed, and essentially harmless. One critical guardrail. The adjustment is capped at 4 times in either direction, so a sudden hash rate collapse or surge cannot whiplash the network in a single retarget. Difficulty keeps the pace honest, but there's one more attack vector, time itself. Miners write their own block timestamps. Why not lie? Backdate blocks to make the network appear slow, forcing easier difficulty. Forward date blocks to unlock time-locked coins or contracts early. The fix is median time passed, or MTP. A block's timestamp must exceed the median timestamp of the previous 11 blocks, and be less than 2 hours ahead of the node's wall clock. Take 11 recent timestamps, sort them, pick the middle one. That's the consensus flaw. To shift MTP meaningfully, an attacker must lie consistently across 6 of the last 11 blocks, meaning they must have mined most of them. The incentive to single block lie collapses. Two distinct clocks coexist. Wall time is what the miner writes into the header, loose, tolerated within 2 hours, useful only for the retargeting calculation. MTP is consensus time, lagging wall time by roughly an hour. After BIP 113, every time lock, CLTV, CSV, transaction lock time, sequence locks, checks against MTP, not the candidate block's stamped time. A miner can't slip a transaction past its lock by forging a future timestamp. Consensus time is provably anchored to the chain's own history. Zoom out. Bitcoin solved a deceptively deep problem. Coordinate effort and time among anonymous strangers, with no trusted clock and no trusted accountant. Proof of work converts electricity into verifiable history. Every block is a receipt for energy spent. Difficulty retargeting makes the pace of that history tamper-proof, dragging block intervals back toward 10 minutes regardless of how hash power evolves. MTP makes the timeline tamper-proof, immunizing time locks from miner deceit. 3 quiet observations. Mining is a lottery, not algebra. No problem is being solved. Difficulty steps in discrete 2-week jumps, not continuously, and the security budget is fixed by target, independent of what's inside the block. The 10-minute heartbeat isn't a schedule anyone enforces. It's an equilibrium that emerges from millions of independent dice rolls every second by miners who've never met and never will.